Hello, welcome back to my channel. For those that are new, my name is Jennifer. Today we are going to be wrapping up the month of December in my reading journal, and then we're going to go ahead and get the few things set up for the month of January and listing out some of my pile of possibilities of what I might want to read in January and setting up the monthly view. So come along, join me. This is going to be a long one, so hopefully you have a drink or a snack, and let's go ahead and dive into all I read in December, as well as closing things out, including did I meet my goals? Did I have some new favorites? Filling out the stats page and things like that. So let's go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining me today. Let's get involved. See you in a little bit. All right, let's get started with getting my book journals wrapped up for the year, for my first one ever for December as well. And then let's get started in setting up some of January and my new book for this year. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So let's set the January one aside for now. And let's go ahead and open up December's. And let's get rolling. All right, so let's get started in adding in the 7 books that I finished in December and add them in here to our shelf. But let's go ahead and get them colored in first. And let's go ahead. This will be the last month that we're using these highlighters from Moxie Life. So we left off with red. So we need to color in 7 books, which makes for a total of 78 books read for the year, which is absolutely amazing. I don't think I've ever read that many books in a year, so that is a huge accomplishment for me. And so that is very exciting. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and speed you up while I color in 7 books. Unfortunately, we're gonna have this one last book all alone on a single shelf. Oh well, I guess that is a marker of the last book that I read, which is funny, but that's okay. Still want to count the book for sure. All right, and let's go ahead and color in the cute plant. Should I do like a clay pot, maybe, kind of, sort of? Not really great clay color, but a fun pop of color. So let me know in the comments how many books you read for the year. Do you have an all-time favorite book? Let me know. We'll get to all of that here in my reading journal update. So I'm excited to share that with all of you. So let me quickly color in these green little leaves. And we'll get rolling on to adding in the 7 books that I read. let's turn this and get adding in the 7th book. So let's start with The Enchanted Greenhouse. It was the first book I finished in December. And the second one was The Butcher's Masquerade. Introvert Power. My nonfiction book for the month, and then last but not least, wow, What She Left Behind. Is the last one, the 78th book. So let's look at this. 2 completed bookshelves. Well, you know, very, very colorful. I like the pastel rainbow colors. What do you think? That is amazing to see. Yay. Oh, I even have different color pots each time. That's pretty funny. I didn't think about that. Love it. Okay, moving on to my favorite book for the month of December. That is What She Left Behind, the very last book that I read for the year. So let's add that. That was 5 stars. And as you can see, I've colored in all of my stars. And so everyone was a 5-star except for November. I didn't have a 5-star. So that's kind of awesome that I had at least a 5-star for 11 of the 12 months. That's pretty cool. All right, moving on to the alphabet challenge. We can see if I have anything to add. I do not, but that's okay. I did really good for not really specifically picking titles with these letters. So I only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters left, which that is pretty amazing. I'm happy with that. And I am going to continue the alphabet challenge for the title in the new year. So look forward for that challenge in the new book journal. And so let's move on then to the 10 before the end. So if we go to that list, we can update it. So let's take a look at the 10 books I wanted to read before the end of the year. And so let's go ahead and highlight the books that I did either finish or DNF. Let's just use this pretty green color. So Curiosity's Legacy, I have started it. I am over halfway, so put a little circle that I have started it. The Reformatory, I ended up DNFing that one, but I finished Frozen River, Station 11. I ended up DNFing The Children of Time. I did not get to In the Holidays. A friend of mine borrowed it and loved it, so I'm excited to read it. Cold Eternity, I finished that one as well. Enchanted Greenhouse, I read that one. Revenant X, read that one. And A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, read that one. So there is just kind of 2 that I had left, one that I'm in the middle of and one that I will get to. I'm not sure if I'll read it in January or if I will wait until the next Christmas season to read it. I'm not sure yet. Depends on my mood. I'm definitely a mood reader for sure, but I think that's a really good wrap up for that. That's amazing. I'll continue to do that. I might start that in October again and do it again next year. So that'd be very exciting. So let's go to the month of December and wrap up that area. So let's go ahead and mark off or put a little dot next to the ones that I read in the month of December. So I read The Enchanted Greenhouse, Introvert Power, Book Club Hotel, Children of Time. I DNF'd, finished Local Woman Missing. I DNF'd Dead of Winter, Watch the Aftermath I finished, and The Butcher's Masquerade. So I finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So I finished 8 of one of out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I read 8 of the 12 books in my December TBR. That is kind of amazing. I think that's awesome. So, all right, moving on to Book Lover. Oh, it's a cute little red for Christmas time. All right, so let's go ahead and fill in the books that when I started and finished them in December. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. So let's start with the Enchanted Greenhouse. I actually finished that on the 1st, so we can do finished. The Enchanted Greenhouse. And then I started The Butcher's Masquerade the next day. I always question how to spell masquerade every time. I never get it right. Okay, that's all right. And then I finished it on the 12th. So it took me 10 days to read that, which I think is pretty amazing because they are very long books. Let's see if we can get masquerade spelled correctly this time. MASQUERADE. Cool. All right, moving on to the Book Club Hotel. I started that same day, but let's just put on the next day. Started the Book Club Hotel. And I finished that on the 14th, so it took me 2 days to read it. You could tell I liked it a lot by how fast I read it. That is so true for me. Especially over the weekend, for sure, when I have more time to read it. Heir of Fire, the audiobook I was listening to, I finished it on the 17th. It'd been many months since I started that, so I won't even go back into when I started it, but finished Heir of Fire. Again, that is the 3rd book in the Throne of Glass series, not counting the prequel. And then Local Woman Missing, I started on the 14th, so I'm going to go ahead and just move it to the 15th. So started Local Woman Missing. And then I started Introvert Power on the 1st, so just going to move it to the 3rd. My nonfiction book for the month. And then I finished it on the 29th. I like when my nonfiction book gets pretty close to being done at the end of the month. It's a great way to restart the beginning of the month and end it before the end of the month. Is worked out really well for me. And then the last book I read is started on the 26th, What She Left Behind. Then I finished it on the 29th, so I'll just move it to the 30th. All right, those are the 7 books that I read throughout the month of December. And yeah, let's finish those in that time frame. So then if we move on to the end of year pages, which is, I lied. Let's go ahead and do the books listed here for the monthly wrap up. So we'll go with, from the beginning, Enchanted Greenhouse. So we'll do this wrap up, and then we'll go to the end of year pages. And then Butcher's Masquerade. Another opportunity to spell masquerade correctly. Okay, awesome. And then the Book Club Hotel. And then Heir of Fire. Local Woman Missing. And then we'll do Introvert Power. And then last one, What She Left Behind. Okay, so then let's turn this back. And as you can probably not believe, but I did not purchase any books in the month of December, and I wasn't gifted any for Christmas. I did get a gift card to Barnes & Noble, which I'm very excited about and have already used in January, so I will have some books to haul in January. But I did not purchase any books in the month of December, which is very excited and very happy about that for sure. So moving on to my goals assessment. So let's go ahead and we're gonna flip back to the beginning where my goals are and look at those real quickly. So we can see, so I read 50 books was a goal, and I read 78. So I'm just gonna put in actually how many numbers I read. So I definitely met that goal for sure. So I read 78 books. And then the next goal was to read Throne of Glass series. I ended up reading 2 books of the Throne of Glass series, Assassin's Blade, which is the prequel, and then Heir of Fire. So I read 2 of those series. So I did meet that goal. And then continue to keep your velocities. I did continue that. I'm still listening to book 8. So just mark that here, reading book 8, Legacy right now, currently. And then from here, keep a book journal. I did that the whole year, which is awesome and loving it. It was my first journal of ever. I've never kept a book journal before, so that is amazing. So I'm continuing, gonna do another book journal next year, the same format. And then the next one is use Storygraph. Use Storygraph all year, which is amazing. I much prefer it over Goodreads, but my friends are on Goodreads. And so I don't know, I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I'm continuing using Storygraph for sure for my personal benefit. I love it. But do I continue to do Goodreads too so we can see each other's updates? That is to be determined. We'll see if I decide to do both or not. And then read 10 nonfiction. I did read 10 nonfiction, which is awesome. Continuing that into the new year as well, which is awesome. So yeah, I met all of my goals, which is amazing. I'm so happy about that for sure. All right, so now moving into the end of the year report. I did take some notes for this. I'm excited to share for this for sure. And so so the number of books I read is 78. The number of pages that I read is 30,760 pages. My most read genre was fantasy. And so that was interesting to see for me. I wasn't sure what it was going to be. My favorite book of the year. Now, this was very interesting to go back and look at this. And I think the one that stuck out to me the most, and yeah, I remember the most, is The Last Girls of Willowbrook. So I'm going to do that. And that's by Ellen Marie Wiseman. New reading habit was reading 10 nonfiction pages a day. And then favorite reading spot is my new reading chair that I got last year in my office. Proudest goal met or made progress on. Oh, I want to say I read the most books ever. I've never read that many books before, so I'm very proud of that. And then meant to read this year but didn't. I'm going to do In a Holidays because it was on my 10 before the end of the year, and it was a Christmas book. I've had it for a while, and it's a Christina Lauren, which I really enjoyed those authors this year. So yeah, so I would want to hopefully read that next year. The first book on next year's TBR is, of course, the 6th book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl, The Eye of the Bedlam Bride. So I will add that here. I've already in the middle of that one, so I'm excited to keep reading that one as well. So yeah, so that is my end of year report. If you want to share with me your favorite book of the year, that would be awesome. Let me know down below. And so now we're going to do some superlatives and talk about the best cover that I liked. I would say The Enchanted Greenhouse was a very beautiful cover with the snow and the greenhouses. Yeah, and the cat on the cover, how can you forget that? Most inspiring was the Book Club Hotel for me. And then most likely to break my heart, I would say The Measure by Nikki Erlich made me cry twice. So I'd say that one definitely broke my heart. Most challenging read, I would say it was one of my nonfictions. 4 Red Sweaters was a challenging read for me, about 4 women and the role that a red sweater played in their lives during Nazis' invadement in World War II. Yeah, so that one was definitely a challenging read, but I really did like the information as to how the story was told as well by the author. Most likely to recommend, I would say the Dungeon Crawler Carl series would be what I would recommend or have recommended the most. And then let's do that. Most surprising to me was The Haunting of Bulkwood. That is definitely up there for favorite book of the year. That would probably be in second place. For me, or on a different day, it might be in first place. You never know. So those are my award winners for the year. And then I think that is the next thing is my Hangout to Dry, or the list of DNFs that I did throughout the year. I ended up having 26 DNFs in the year, which isn't that many, which I thought I would have had more. So I have One by One, House in the Chilean Sea, The Swifts, Truly Devious, and You Are Fatally Invited. And then moving on, it'd be The Women Cabin 10. And then The Life Impossible. And then How to Sell a Haunted House. By Grady Hendrix. And then the next one is Feeling Lee Donovan is Killing It. And then The Last Session. From Below. All the Water in the World. And then Blood Over Brighthaven. When Less Becomes More. And To Kill a Mockingbird. The Reformatory. Children of Time. Dead of Winter. Okay. Yep, so those are the books that I end up DNF this year. Let's see how that goes next year. And then my top 10 books, my standout stack for the year. The top one is The Lost Girls of Willowbrook. Like I said, the #1 book for the year. And then The Haunting of Belcoed. Third place is Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm standing in for the whole series. And then the next one is The Measure. And then Soulful Simplicity, which is a nonfiction. Then I lied. I did also have the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, which is also a favorite of the Digit Crowd Curl series, which is my favorite book of the series so far, which is book 3. And then Moon Garden, which we read for middle grade March. And I read it with Secret Garden for the first time, classic, and then read Moon Garden, companion with that, because it kind of has some of the same elements as Secret Garden, but set in space. And then Sunrise on the Reaping is next one in the Hunger Games series. Came out this year. And then Worst Case Scenario by T.J. Newman. That's an awesome read as well. Love that author. And then last but not least is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. Those are my top 10. So those are my favorite books of the year, which is very exciting. And that, I believe, is the last of the closing out of my December book journal. I have loved every minute of this. It has been great to learn all of these things. So let's go ahead and do a few things to set up for January in my new journal. So let's go ahead and close this one out for the year, which is very exciting, and pull over January. Let's go ahead and open this up in here. And so we have the same similar bookshelves again. Let me know if you think I should do the rainbow order of the books next year, or how I should color these in. I was debating, some people do it by star ranking, like one color is for 5 stars, a different color is for 4 stars, and so on. Or should I do it by genre? So like all the fantasy is one color, all the mysteries are another. I'm not sure. I kind of liked the randomization of the rainbow. But then it didn't really matter, didn't have to think too hard about it. Let me know if you've done this, if you've colored certain colors for different books, depending on what type it is and things. Let me know what you prefer. And if it's too difficult or too hard to keep track of, let me know. And then I have an extra shelf here, but then I have one for TVs and movies that I watched for the year. And so we'll see how that goes. And the alphabet challenge, my favorite books for the year. And then moving on to the 12 books that I want to read in 2026. And then the 10 nonfiction books that will go here. I'll add the covers once I finish reading them. And then most anticipated releases. This is where I have a few more books, of course, that I want to do for anticipated releases. Excuse me. So we have The Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst, the same author as The Spell Shop. And then also The Enchanted Greenhouse. So I have that one pre-ordered as well. So we'll see how that one looks. Looks like it's going to be a gorgeous book. So I'm excited for that one by Sarah Beth Durst. And that one comes out in April. And then the next one I have The Romance Revival by Christina Lauren. I might wait until that one comes out in July, but I might wait for that one until it comes out in paperback, I'm thinking, is kind of where I'm at with that one. But we'll see how it goes, see what kind of buzz or hype or excitement comes out with it. We'll have to wait and see how that one goes. And so yeah, so we'll see how that one, and then that comes out in July, like I said. And then the next Dungeon Crawler Carl book, book 8, comes out in May. It is a parade of horribles. So I don't know what we're in store for that one, but we'll see. Again, I'm still in the middle of book 6 and I still have to read book 7, but I will definitely have it done in time for May to read. My goodness, can't spell and talk at the same time. In time for it to come out. So that is that one. And then last but not least is Books and Bewitchment. Talking about books and witches at the same time. Yes, please. Okay, so Books and Bewitchment by a new author for me, which is Isla Jewell. So that sounds exciting, and that comes out in February. So very soon, next month. So those are the anticipated books I have so far. And then if we move on to the next area, I have my goals here, my 10 goals for January and the year. And then here is January, very cute retro deco there. And let's go ahead and add in my pile of possibilities for January. I have 9 books for the month. Okay, so let's add in those. The first one is my nonfiction book, The Dressmakers of Auschwitz. It's the same author of For Red Sweaters. CHWITZ by Lucy Adlington. And then I have Adrift by Darcy Coates. Nope, that's Adrift by Rob Beaufort. I read the wrong line. Oops. Let's do Rob Beaufort. And then The Eye of the Bloodland Bride. The 6th book in the Dungeon Carl series. By Matt Dinniman. And then The Book of Speculation. By Erica Scott Swiler. And then I have The Keeper of the Lost Cities, number 8.5, which is Unlocked, which I'll be listening to on audio, by Shannon Messenger. And then Return to Wadcliffe Heights. By Carol Goodman. Lots of new authors this month to try, but then a reread for me is the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. That is one of my goals for this year, is to read that series in the illustrated versions that I have. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is the first one, by J.K. Rowling. And then the last book is a book club book for Krista Books and Jams, is The Correspondent. And I forgot who this was by, so let me look that up real quick. By Virginia Evans. those are the books that I would like to get to in the month of January, which is awesome. And then let's move on and add in the dates for the month of January. So let's go ahead and add in those. I am again just using this Happy Planner book, and I'm going to use, let's do the colorful ones. Let's do some colorful date dots here. And the first was on a Thursday. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed you up as in I add the date dots. It just fits. That's kind of funny. All right, so that is January all planned out. Thank you for watching today and enjoying closing out my December month for my reading journal, and also the full journal for the first time ever, which is so exciting, and then setting up January and getting things rolling in January. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. Don't forget to comment below your favorite book of the year. Bye!